welcome to the show! I'm Wolfie Bane, your host for today, and we are back doing another Pokemon type tier list today. How dare you? Fantastic day, fantastic time, fantastic evening, and a fantastic life right now. Hey everybody, I'm back, I'm here, and I'm ready to talk about a video game. Or a bunch of video games, I guess. Hey, howdy, hope you're having a lovely day. I wasn't having a great one, honestly. I was stuck in a bunch of, like, writer's block kind of stuff. You know how it goes. I've been reformatting this for a good chunk of the day. And also have been doing a little bit of work for the couple of one-shots that are planned for... one with the Altera people, the Dark Heresy, not Dark Heresy, Black Crusade one, and getting a couple of bits and pieces ready for, at least the concept ready for the Dark Heresy one shot with the Northern Fangs, which should be a fun time. So, yes, Pokemon types, hey. But also, that was the start of this. It wasn't too great. Then, massively changed, because I just went, you know, I'm not getting any writers. My writer's block's kicking my ass today. I need to just watch something that I haven't seen yet. Like, something new, you know? So, I finally started Frieren. Very, very good so far. I'm on episode 3 or 4 so far. It's been really, really good so far, so I very much am enjoying it. So, hell yes. It's been a fun time. Very relaxing, honestly. Weirdly relaxing. Great music scores as well. I've been listening to the dub because I'm a filthy dub watcher. I've always been like that. It means I can concentrate on other stuff as well. Also, I'm dyslexic, so reading subtitles can be a little bit of a pain in the arse. Also, I just love the English VAs for anime. They're all really good. I recognize a bunch of them's voices in Frieren, and they're all very good. There's a lot of ones I really like. Even if I don't know the voice actor by name, I know another character that they're in. Like how the dwarf also plays Ainzul Gon in Overlord in English dub, who's a great character. And I always like... If I hear a character's voice, I associate with a different character's voice. And it makes me like or dislike the character more, basically. Or I can just think it's perfect. Usually I just go, I like the voice actor, so it ends up making me like them more. Because the voice actors do great jobs, usually. But yes, hey, this is the electric type tier list today. So... as people know, I've not really made much of a hide about it. Electric type is probably my least favorite type in Pokemon. And it's not because I really dislike the type. It's weird to say that I dislike, it's probably my least favorite type, but not because I dislike the type. I genuinely don't really consider electric types, in most cases, as particularly memorable. Now, there are exceptions, as you will see on this list. There are definitely exceptions to this. But the vast majority, like, usually electric types are one of the, like, last things I think about adding to the team. They're good. Electric types are very, very good. They're very, very nice to have. But there's not that many electric types that I would consider S tier. I will be entirely fair, though. There's not that many Pokemon in electric type that I consider particularly bad either. They're just probably the most mid type, and that's why it's my least favorite. I think that electric type has a small number of really cool, really fun Pokemon, right? But I also think it has a lot of, well, that exists as well. I will 100% put a lot of it down to a lot of Pikachu clones. That's not necessarily me saying that I dislike Pikachu clones. Actually, you'll be seeing, I actually rate a fair few of the Pikachu clones as pretty decent. But there's a lot of very forgettable ones as well. And that's always been my thoughts, really, for electric types. There's not many electric types that I would go, I like this Pokemon. Also, electric types have disappointed me. There's one electric type, which I used to love, and then I used it. And I used it again, and I used it again. I like the Mon. It has everything about it. Says it should be great. It just isn't. So it massively went down in my estimations. But there's a lot of extra types I do genuinely quite like. This one should be a good bit of a laugh. Now then, I'll go through my tiers as per usual, just to give a bit of context. If you haven't seen the goddamn every other video, this is literally the last one of the types. I'm going to do more of these, by the way, but not types, basically. I'm going to do a couple other things. I'm going to do Megas and G-Maxes and stuff as well. So, yeah. I'll go through the tiers. Bear in mind, S tier is the best of the best of the best. A tier is very, very good. B tier is good. Like, I quite like it. C tier is my average bar, and D tier, I dislike the Pokemon. No E tiers or F tiers in Electric type, because most of the ones I dislike in Electric type, I don't have particularly good feelings about. Like, I don't particularly think of this Pokemon. Really. I am expecting quite a bit of B and C for Electric type, if I had to guess. There's going to be a good chunk of S tiers, a fair few A tiers, probably a few Ds, but the vast majority are probably going to be around B and C. That's my prediction. I normally don't make a prediction on these ones, but that's my expectation, at least. So, oh yes, I also decided to do appliances for the tiers today. Oh, they seem kind of appropriate for Electric type, right? S tier, I put stove. Now, I will say, I prefer a gas hob stove, so not 100%. I also couldn't put cooker, basically. I couldn't put, so I basically put S for stove, despite not 100% being electrical. But how I like them, I like a gas hob and an electric oven, like an electric fan oven, if you can. That's the dream for me on a cooker. So that's why I put stove as S tier. For reference, these aren't in a particular order of I dislike them or I like them. A tier, I put air conditioner. Now, I'm in the UK. But yeah, spoilers to everybody. I'm British. I never have hit it. I've never hit it. A is air conditioner. Now, I personally have never been... I've never had an air conditioner in a house. We always have fans. We're British. We don't have aircon. Right? We usually don't have air conditioning because the English weather is too unpredictable, really. And we're a bit stubborn bastards, let's be fair. I know in the States and abroad a lot of the time, it is just, you have air conditioning. UK doesn't. It's becoming more commonplace, but nowhere I've lived has it had proper air conditioning. However, I used to go on a holiday a lot as a kid, and I can tell you, when you're in somewhere like, what would be a good one? Egypt, you buy the air conditioning. My God, you buy the air conditioning. Because it is roasting. You're in Egypt in the middle of August. Yeah, you get the aircon. B, blender. I've always wondered, a little personal blender. There's something I've just been meaning to buy and never get around to it. I want a personal blender at some point. Because we always have one in. They're a bitch to clean, obviously. But I want to get one. That's just mine. Like, no one else's. I don't have to share it with anybody. Is a genuine thing I've thought about before. But I want to get a pretty good one, right? One that ideally is easy to clean. But I love, like, making blended stuff in general. Not particularly of smoothies. I've never been a smoothie guy. But blitzing things has always been a bit of a fun one. See, coffee maker. Now, I'm not a coffee drinker myself. But I like the smell of coffee. I hate the taste. I despise bitter things. But I will say a coffee maker is a great, great thing that exists. And I know a lot of people who drink a lot of coffee, so I would like to have a coffee maker at some point. And D is dishwasher. Dishwasher to me is honestly the most important appliance of all. Because I hate doing the washing up. I'm going to be perfectly honest here. I despise washing up with a passion. I really do want a dishwasher. I've not had a dishwasher for years, and it sucks. I don't mind drying particularly, and I don't mind putting plates and stuff away. I just hate doing the washing up. It also has probably got something to do with the fact... Well, it's not even to do with this, but it doesn't help matters that we haven't had a proper hot water in this house for years. Downstairs. We have it in the shower and the bathtub and things. But the sinks and stuff just don't work. And because it's not really affected us, because we have hot water in the places that we genuinely, actively want it. Yeah. I know hot water's a necessity, but we've always boiled a kettle and stuff, and it's a pain in the arse. But, it's not in the shower, so it's fine. We'll make do. So, anyway, let's make a start, shall we? So, let's start with the elephant in the room. The most famous Pokemon of all time, even over Charizard, as much as Charizard is my favorite of these ones. Pikachu. I've always had a bit of a fondness for Pikachu, but it's never been, like, a crazy, like, this is the best thing ever. Pikachu is cute. It is. It's objectively very, very cute, right? So, I like Pikachu. It's fun. I also love that it's got the light orb, so it actually can be usable. And it can hit pretty hard, honestly. It's okay in speed. It's nothing crazy. It's not a fully evolved Pokemon, of course, so it's not going to do too much. Squishy as hell, but you can actually make Pikachu work if you're really, really trying. I've never particularly had the inclination to try, but, hey, Pikachu's great. Gotta respect it. Easy A tier for me, personally. Now, I know a lot of people will put in S tier. Not really for me, right? And G-Max Pikachu... the Chonkachu is also pretty funny. So, I will put G-Max Pikachu in A tier. It's fun. Right? It's a fun Pokemon. What can you really say? I think it's Gigavolt Havoc. Or 10 million volt Thunderbolt or something is its G-Max move, which is also pretty sick. So, hell yeah. Raichu, regular Raichu, I am going to put in B tier. I've never liked Raichu as much as Pikachu. It's, again, a fine Pokemon. It is fine. And it's a little above average, I'd say. Actually, you know what? No, it's not even above average. I would put Raichu as exactly, like, average. It's fine. But I don't really think about it much. And that's all you really need to know. This is how this tier list is going to go. Raichu is a fine Pokemon. There's nothing crazy about it. I don't particularly like it. I don't particularly dislike it. It is just a Pokemon. It's just worse than Pikachu. That's the main thing that it's got. It's just kind of doesn't look as good as Pikachu. Now, I will say, Alolan Raichu, I actively quite like. I will put Alolan Raichu... Actually, no. I put Alolan Raichu behind Pikachu. Pikachu's just very cute. But I do like Alolan Raichu. It is a nice upgrade. I talked about this last week, actually. Psychic Electric is a really cool type combo. It is the Glass Cannon combo, as I think I called it last week. Electric types and Psychic types normally do the exact same thing. Or in my brain, always. I associate Psychic types and Electric types with the same thing. Very fast, very frail, special attacker. That hits quite hard. Right, that's always what I associate a Psychic type with, and it's always what I associate an Electric type with. So because of that, you can have some really good Pokemon for it. And that's kind of what Alolan Raichu exemplifies. And I do think it's a massive, massive upgrade over regular Raichu. I think regular Raichu always needed something going for it, because it just is worse. Like, it's a better Pokemon, I guess, but it's just always been a bit worse than Pikachu. Right? So, I never particularly liked Raichu as much. Pikachu's cool. Alolan Raichu, massive upgrade. I also love how it floats on its tail. I didn't really talk about this last week. But I like how it floats on this tail, the Surge Surfer thing. It's very cool. I like it. Alolan, Geodude, Graveler, and Golem. I will put them all in B. I will put Golem as the highest one because I love Turkish Barber Golem's look. I'm going to be honest. I like that they did try to make Golem better. I do genuinely like the idea, right? And I love the concept of making a really tanky electric type. Tanky electric types are really cool as an idea because electric type obviously only has one weakness. So it's pretty obvious just a way to do it. Just make it slow and tanky and it'd be cool. Unfortunately, it's really bad because Golem is bad. And that's what it comes down to. Galvanize is an amazingly cool ability. You can really make this thing cook. If this thing was fast, I would love it. Because I believe it gets Rockhead? I think, right? I believe Alolan Golem gets Rockhead as well. No, it doesn't. Okay, it gets Galvanized, though. But with Galvanized, if you could get... I do think there needs to be an item in the game, by the way, that stops recoil damage. I genuinely think that needs to be an item. But if you could do that, or you could run it in Trick Room or something, and you could get an item like that, which I do think could exist. I could imagine it. Because it's a very niche item, right? It's something fun. Like neck brace or something like that. I don't know. But, or armor padding. Something like that. It just removes recoil. All it does. Doesn't need to do anything else. Maybe boosts the power of recoil moves by like 10% and removes the recoil. You'd see people using it a lot. On a lot of things. Because you'd still get, like, Rockhead Pokemon using it because you could put Choice Band on, like Tyrantrum. You still use Rockhead with Head Smash. Howdy, Anonymous. But yeah, Golem is cool, and I like the idea of it. It's just really bad, and I always have a bit of a thing with Golem that he's just kind of sucks. I'm sorry, Golem. I've tried using you in the past. You're not good. Golem is only good if you can get him for the exact level that you could evolve him. So if you get him at 22, because you get the Graveler, you immediately evolve him. Golem's okay. Not good. Okay. That's all I can call. This is all of them. This is the list that has all of them. I'm not doing fucking terrorists. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah. That's my piece. I've talked about Golem loads in the past. I like the idea of Golem. And Turkish Barber Golem of Alolan Golem looks great. It just sucks. Magnemite and Magnezone. Oh, no, Magnemite and Magnet. My brain is dying. Magneton. Yeah, Magnezone's the bigger one. It's weird that I haven't thought of Magneton for years because Magnezone exists. They are both fine. That is what I'll give them. They're a classic, and they are very much nostalgia wins out. But hey, this nostalgia does sometimes win out. Entertainingly, if you actually, because I started playing Pokemon with Fire Red, these are the only Steel types you can get in Kanto, in the main game. I believe you can get others when you beat the game, essentially, but yeah, I believe these are the only Steel types that you can get in the main game of, unless you do the, because I don't think you can get a Metal Coat in Kanto in Fire Red and Leaf Green, so I don't think you can get Scizor or Steelix. So I think these are the only ones. But I like them. They're pretty cool. I like Magnezone a lot more, though. They're just a classic, right? You can't dislike these Pokemon. The problem I've always had with them is they kind of work best with Analytic, but they die immediately to a Ground-type attack because Quad Weakness, and they're sturdy, but they're not particularly tanky. So, Also, they've always been one of those Pokemon that to me just has Levitate. It never does. But it always is, to my brain always reminds me, oh, they have Levitate. Because they look like they're levitating. They don't, for reference. Weird thing. It's one of those things you never really think about. You just go, oh yeah, it has Levitate. No, it doesn't. It's a levitating Pokemon, doesn't have Levitate. I would actually genuinely love... They're not going to do it, I don't think, because they made Sandy Shocks. Right? But I would actually have loved... Because they basically... My thought is that Game Freak don't particularly like going over a Pokemon they have done something for. Right? So, with the exception of, like, Duraludon, but Duraludon really needed it because they realized they're never bringing G-Max back. And it was bad without G-Max. But that kind of thing. I don't think they're going to do anything crazy in the near future with a Mon that they've got a Mega, a G-Max, or a regional form, or a Paradox of, right? Or anything like that. A Pokemon that is based on it to be an alternate form. There are exceptions, obviously, like Gallade and Gardevoir both got Megas, and they got a Paradox. Same with Salamence, got the Paradox for it. And Tita, but there's a couple of big exceptions of they are absolute fan favorites. Fairly generic Pokemon. I don't think they're going to be getting that same kind of treatment. But like, people love Salamence, so it's not surprising that you get a Roaring Moon and Mega Salamence. And stuff like that. So, yeah, that's my theory at least. So I don't think they're going to do anything with Magneton. Because they've got Magnezone, which was recent. But I could see them doing stuff with it. I would love a Mega Magnezone, for reference. But I would love more a regional form of these things. I don't really know what you do with it. But I would genuinely love a regional version of Magnemite Magnezone. But I don't think they're going to, because we've got Sandy Shocks, specifically. That is a big one for me. I don't think we're going to get him because we have Sandy Shocks. Voltorb and Hisuian. Let's do these legit. Okay, Voltorb. I have no particularly strong feelings about Voltorb. It's just there. The annoying part I've always had about Voltorb is the little bastard quite often would break out of a Pokeball and then explode. That would happen a lot. In me playing. These were irritating to catch. Particularly if you're trying to get a shiny one. I think I saw a shiny, or I might have a shiny Voltorb, which blew itself up repeatedly with me trying to catch it, which is just annoying. So yeah. It's a pain in the arse, you'll know it is. But yeah, it gets C tier. Hisuian, though, does get to B. I kind of like these. I like the idea of the Hisuian ones more than anything else. Hisuian Voltorb is pretty cool. I love the idea of... Oh, we went with a Grass Electric. Grass Electric is also a really, really cool type. I also like Chloroblast is like half explosion. It doesn't blow itself up completely, but it does have a massive amount of recoil on it. I like the idea of it. It's neat. It's nothing I'd shout right home about, but it's neat. Electrode, I would put Electrode about C tier as well. A bit higher than Raichu, though. It's stupid fast is a big one for it. But, and again, I will put Hisuian up 2 tiers. I do genuinely like Hisuian Hisuian Electrode. I think it's cool as an idea of a Pokemon. It's fun, it's a fun typing, it's fast as sin. It's got a cool special attack with Chloroblast. And it just does what it says on the tin, right? Also, Electric Grass is a really, really good typing because Grass resists Electric's only weakness of Ground, which I still think, by the way, Electric type needs nerfing. It needs more weaknesses. I will state that. Just because it's too easy to get effectively immune to everything. And I just don't really like it. It means that they've got less freedom to do stuff in the future. That is one of the main reasons why I think they will do an extra type at some point in the future with Pokemon. And when they do a new type, I think that it will be good against specifically Electric and Water. That is my theory. I don't know what the type is going to be, but I think it'll be good against Electric and Water. That's my call for the future. I don't know what else is going to have crazy on it, but that is my prediction. And yeah, I like Hisuian Electrode. It's cool. Electabuzz. I always had a soft spot for this entire line. This I will get to in the future, more importantly. But Electabuzz, it's just a good design. It always goes to my brain of... Because I never particularly like using legendaries in normal stuff. And I've never been a fan of Zapdos anyway. But Electabuzz has always been, for me, the second best electric type in Kanto. Right? In the originals, because it was before Electivire came out, okay? But that's always what Electabuzz was for me. It was like, this is a good Pokemon. I know that technically Magneton could also be better, but I just had a bit of a soft spot for this. It was always a fun one. I also massively preferred it to Magmar. I thought Magmar looked dumb, but Electivire, Electabuzz, I always thought looked pretty cool. I know it's very good at the moment, I believe. You can Eviolite it. I think it's got some use with Eviolite at the moment. Didn't it win a tournament or something recently? I swear I heard about Electabuzz recently. That Eviolite Electabuzz was something, some support mon. Which is neat, and I like that it's got a niche, which I kind of like. So, Electabuzz, I have a soft spot for you, so I'm putting you not as much as Alolan Raichu, but I'll put you there as I kind of like it. Yes, you're exactly right, actually. Now, I will say, Jolteon is my least favourite of the evolutions. But it's still an amazingly cool Pokemon. Yeah, genuinely, it's always been my least favourite of the evolutions, but it's not really that I dislike Jolteon. I just like the other Eevees more. I don't really like the spiky design. Too bad for you. Fair enough. I absolutely respect it. I have used Jolteon. It's really fun to use, and it's really, really good. It is great. I do like this Pokemon. It's an easy S tier. Like, every single evolution has been an easy S tier. And it's not close. But Jolteon has always been my least favourite one. It might possibly be to do with I don't particularly like the electric type. As I said at the start, this is my least favourite type in Pokemon. But I don't really like the spiky design too much. I've never been a super big fan of it. I'm not really sure why. But also, if I want a super fast special attacking one, it does have racing stripes. And it looks like it's a cute little rabbit. I do like it. But I like the others more. Possibly because it's more rabbit than the others, which are more cat or dog. And I do prefer cats and dogs to rabbits, usually. I am 100% saying this after doing the normal type tier list and putting Lopunny as one of the best Pokemon ever. But, sus. To be fair, I've talked about it there. I actively quite like Lopunny just generally. I think it's a fun Pokemon to use and really underestimated in actual combat. Also, Mega Lopunny is sick. But yeah, Jolteon is an amazingly good Pokemon, and as I said, it's an easy S tier. But if I want a super fast special attacker, I will take Espeon. Every time. Out of the pair, I will pick Espeon 10 times out of 10. But I do really, really like Jolteon. If I want just a special attacker generally for an evolution, I'm more likely to go Vaporeon or Sylveon, where they're like bulk that adds to it. I love Flareon so much. Flareon sucks, but I love it. Leafeon is amazing. You just have to know how to use it, as I talked about in the Leafeon, in the grass type tier list, as I talked about Leafeon. You just need to know how to use Leafeon. Leafeon, to me, is exclusively Choice Band, Chlorophyll, Solar Blade, and a Sun Team. That's the only way to use Leafeon, for me. I know you can use it other ways, but that's the fun way, for me. And people have seen, I have used Leafeon in lower tiers on, like, Pokemon Showdown, and destroyed entire teams with just Leafeon. With just Leafeon in the sun, Solar Blade, with a Choice Band, Max Attack, Adamant Nature, it atomizes things. Things just get obliterated. Partially because you could at least, I don't know if you still can because I haven't played it for a while, but you could get a Sun team that was good, or at least pretty good, even in, like, ZU. You could get a pretty good one because of Vulpix, which the options otherwise, you could do a Snow team, which is pretty bad. Sorry, Bomber Snow, you're not great. Or you could do, but he's the only one that's really available in ZU. Or, I don't think there's a single Drizzle Pokemon that's that low because Rain is kind of busted. So yeah. I love Glaceon. Obviously, Glaceon's my favorite evolution. I just like the other evolutions more than Jolteon. But Jolteon is the only one that I would put isn't one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. It's still a comfy S tier, especially in electric types. Now Zapdos. Remember when I was saying that that I don't really like the dumb spiky designs? Of the regional birds, of the legendary birds, Zapdos has always been my least favorite by a lot. And it's exclusively, or almost exclusively, because of the design. The other bit is you can build it tanky as fuck and give it static, which is just annoying. Speed spikes, exactly. But I don't like Zapdos. I never have liked Zapdos. I always thought it was dumb. It looks like a canary hit a windscreen on the motorway. That's always what I thought about Zapdos. It doesn't look good. It is by far the worst designed. I will say, the spiky look works really well for Galarian Zapdos, because Galarian Zapdos is a Roadrunner, and it kind of has, like, the spiky look for it. Galarian Zapdos is sick, and is one of my favorite of the legendary birds. But regular Zapdos? Don't like it. Never have done. Lightning Go Burr. Oh no, it's crazy good. Do not get me wrong, but that irritates me more. Because I've said before, if I actively dislike a Pokemon's design, I really hope that Pokemon is bad. Because it's bad, it's less offensive, and I don't have to look at it. Think Medicham, which I despise. Or Hypno, which I hate even more. Or Mr. Mime, which I hate. I might have a bit of a bias against Psychic types. But remember those Pokemon. They are bad. But and they look terrible. So you don't have to look at them almost ever. The only time you ever see Medicham is if you... Oh no, here's the bit. Sometimes spikes work. These ones, they don't. And that's the big one. So, Zapdos, I'm sorry. You're getting a D tier. I do not like you. You're crazy powerful. But I will never use a Zapdos. Genuinely ever. A regular Zapdos. I love Galarian Zapdos. And Galarian Zapdos, to me, recovers every sin that normal Zapdos does. I can't remember if I put Zapdos in D tier on my flying tier list. But I've never liked this mon. I actually don't. It's Chinchou. It's Chinchou, I believe. Chinchou is sick. I do like Chinchou. Chinchou is very cute. I think it's cuter than Pikachu, personally. I like this thing a lot. I have a soft spot for it. Same with Lantern. I never really thought about Lantern, particularly, until, like, a past couple of years. And this thing has really grown on me, honestly. I've not particularly used it, because I'm kind of saving it. In case, because basically, because I'm obviously planning on doing another monotype run of Pokemon Mo at some point, and I have been, if I get Water type, because I'm going to be doing Johto next, Water type is one of the ones that I would really like to get in Johto, because I don't usually use that many Water types for Johto, so I would kind of like to do it, and Lantern would be on my team with that bit, which would be kind of fun. So I want to see if I get it. So, yeah. Lantern, I like. I always associate... Lantern is one of the Pokemon. I think it's Lantern and Skarmory. I always forget is Gen 2 mon. I always think it's Gen 3. It might be Gen 3, actually. But it was... I left it on this tier list. Lantern... Yeah, it's Gen 2. I always assume this Pokemon is Gen 3. Exactly. I always think of this thing because the most times I saw this Pokemon were in Emerald. Hey, nice. I like Lantern. I like Lantern a lot. It's good. It's really slept on. I don't think it gets Water Absorb and Volt Absorb as well, its abilities, which is pretty fun. So it's always immune to one of its two types, outside of Terra, obviously. But yeah, I like these things. And Pichu is great. Pichu is very cute. It gets purely cuteness points. But you know what? I'll put you above Chonkachu. I think Pichu is adorable. I will say it's a terrible Pokemon, but it's very cute. And very cute gets you a long way. Now then. Ah, my beloved little sheep. I love Mareep, okay? I love Mareep, I love Flaffy, I love Ampharos, and I love Mega Ampharos. I just do. I do not have the faintest idea as to why I like these mods this much. But Ampharos, for a very, very long time, was my favorite electric type. Genuinely. I love this thing. It's so cute. Like, it's so cute. It's good. People really underestimate how good this thing is as well, by the way. Ampharos is sick. I love this thing. I love that they made it Electric Dragon with the Mega as well. And it looks great. I love the Mega. I adore this Pokemon. I always have. Flaffy is my least favorite of its forms because Mareep is one of the cutest little things ever. Quite often, I will have a Ampharos on my team in games. And I don't usually use electric types, because often my evolution is taken by one of the other EVs, basically, right? Meaning that I've got a space for electric type. If I need an electric type on my team, which I quite often do, because I tend to take, like, the fire starter in games. So I would need something. I end up usually taking a grass type, but if I go for those kind of things. In the older games, this is specifically because you need something to anti-water. Even if I usually just power through with a dragon. But I love Ampharos. And Ampharos is one of the very few electric types I have used on a actual going through the game team. I don't do that very often. There's not many electric types I would put on my team for a full playthrough. Ampharos is one of them. And it's very noteworthy for that. Hey, love my dragons. I am the dragon type tamer, as I say regularly. Dragon's my favorite type by a lot. I will always be. Yeah, I've done that team before. Love my dragons. Love my dragons. Sometimes just giant pseudo-legendaries, just, it's so fun. I was very critical. Do watch on my YouTube video, by the way. There are a bunch of these. I haven't put them in the playlist yet. Dragon was my first one of these playlist videos. Of these tier list videos. And it was a very fun one, so check it out after stream. My YouTube link is in the description, I believe. And give me a subscription, because it's always nice. And there's literally no downside on YouTube. It's free. Yeah, I love Ampharos a lot. Elekid is cute. And I have a bit of a soft spot for it, as I've said. I have a bit of a soft spot for this entire line. But Elekid is cute. It's pretty cute. Nothing crazy good, though, but I don't have super, super great feelings about it. But it's like, I kind of dig it. It's fine. Raikou, I like Raikou. Love the Sabertooth. It's an S tier. It is an S tier mod for me. We'll get to something like that later, actually, about Raikou. But weirdly, my first interaction with Raikou was when I was very, very young. I got a Pokemon card Shiny Raikou. Is it actually? I am not surprised. It was a fun video. It was my first time ever doing one of these. I didn't know if anyone would like it, and people liked it. So I decided to do the rest. And it's a Dragon-type tamer trainer talks about rating the dragon types. Entirely on my own personal vibes and opinions. But yeah, I actually had a Pokemon card of Raikou. It was my first ever interaction with it. And I thought it just looked sick. Genuinely, I like the design. I love tigers in general. Tigers are awesome animals. One of my, probably my favorite type of big cat. Genuinely, I love tigers. And it's a giant lightning saber-tooth. It's great. It's just got a great design as well. The only part of it that I'd say doesn't quite win is the tail. I think it could have had a better tail. I would love it to have a proper tiger tail, or like a tail like its mane it has on it. I think that would look a bit better. But that's the only thing that knocks it down, really. It's a great Pokemon. I love using Raikou as well. Raikou is a very fun Pokemon to use. It gets scalded weirdly, I believe, for some bizarre reason. But yeah, Raikou's very fun. The magnetic. I can't even... Electric, I believe is its name. Magnetic and Megametric. I have no real opinions on these. The Super Saiyan Popper is fine. I've never really had the... I used it a little bit in Emerald, and it only really disappointed me. I actually weirdly went up against someone using this thing. It was a double discharge Volt Absorb team with Raichu and regular Manectric, where both of them were scarfed. Which, in theory, sounds like... not scarfed, both of them were sashed. Which, in theory, sounds like it could be scary. Until you realize that every team, or pretty much every team I run, has Goober on it. Now, for reference, if anybody doesn't watch me playing Pokemon a lot, you might not know this. Goober's my Garchomp, my ace Pokemon. And let me tell you, double electric type does not care, does not do well against one of the most powerful pseudo-legendaries ever made. Hell, one of the most powerful Pokemon ever made, in terms of what it's done to Pokemon over the years. It's been power crept, but that just means that Game Freak, you can buff Garchomp now. Come on, come on. Give Garchomp Headlong Rush and Extreme Speed. I don't even care if you don't give us Dragon Dance, it's fine. I don't think Dragon Dance will save it. It needs Extreme Speed and it needs Headlong Rush. Look at it. It's the Mac Pokemon! Give us the moves, damn it! Also buff Mega Garchomp. Chuck 20 off of its special attack, add that to its speed, done. Or give it Sand Rush, and then it's at least got a use. But Mega Garchomp is worse than Garchomp, which is sad, because Mega Garchomp has a good design. I hate the shiny, but well. Okay, Plusle and Minun. I have a bit of a soft spot for Plusle and Minun. They're not very good, obviously, but they are both very cute. I think of them kind of a similar vein to Pichu, right? They're kind of cute. That's about it. Shinx, Luxio, and Luxray. Now, I will 100% put these all in B tier. Now, let's give them this. Luxray is one of the most disappointing Pokemon ever because it looks so good. It looks glorious. And it's got Guts or Intimidate. Great abilities. I love the concept of Luxray. The problem is, Luxray sucks. You can make it okay. I can only give it that. It almost has the Flareon problem, apart from it's bad even with it's able to make use of Guts. And that's kind of the issue it's got. The only the things it's got going for it are Guts and Intimidate. Its stats are really bad, and it being a third stage evolution means that there's no real way to save it in a normal Pokemon game. That being said, it's got an amazing design. One of the best designs in Pokemon, just outright. It gets to B tier on pure vibe. It looks great. But it loses a lot of points for being shit. But it does have going for it. The fact that I think this is one of the most likely Pokemon to get a Mega in Legends ZA. Genuinely. I think that Luxray is one of the most likely Pokemon. Make it Electric Dark, give it some good stats. Now give it stats on par with, say, Mega Absol. Nothing crazy, but give it that kind of stat line. And make it Electric Dark. And I think you've got something you can work with. I genuinely do. I would also love if they made it... They could make it really bulky, which would be kind of sick as well. All it needs on the ability, give it Intimidate. Genuinely. You'd have a fun time with a Mon which has Intimidate base and Mega Evolves to keep getting Intimidate, because I've been playing a lot of national decks. If you Mega Evolve a Pokemon, its ability goes off again, even if it had the same ability. I know this from Mega Tyranitar. So if you have Luxray come in, Intimidates, then you Mega Evolve it to Mega Luxray, which I really hope has Intimidate. It does another Intimidate, and you could make it quite a tanky, bulky thing. And I think that'd be fun. And that'd be kind of a cool way to make the Pokemon good. It's like the double Intimidate Mon, which should be pretty good. Like, people would use it. It wouldn't be the most used Mega, but there would be people that use it. They guarantee would be. Particularly, people love Luxray, and it deserves it. Luxray and Mightyena are Pokemon that deserve some love, because they are really cool Pokemon. They just massively let down by stats. Mightyena needs a 3rd stage evolution. Luxray needs a Mega. That's what I think it needs. Or a regional form. Either one. I would love it. I think a Mega would do it some justice. Here we go. The world champion, Pachirisu. Pachirisu's great. I actually like Pachirisu more than Pikachu. Possibly because I like squirrels more than mice, honestly. But I love Pachirisu. Annoying little bastard that he is. He's fun. I can't hate on him. I like the little bugger. It's very cute. And the cuteness gets it a lot of points. But also the fact that it is quite good gets it as well. It's only good as a support mod, but sometimes that's all you need, right? You need a vibe, and it's annoying, but I've never personally had irritation with Pachirisu, which probably is one of the reasons why I'm giving it a pretty good review, because I don't hate the thing. Because I've not come up against this Pokemon in an irritating setup. But I think Pachirisu is a pretty cool little blighter. Magnezone, the best of the Magnemite line. I will give Magnezone, honestly, it's the top of B tier, and it might be sitting at the top of B tier forever. Magnezone is good. You can't hate on the thing, right? If you do not have a ground type, you are fucked against this Pokemon. It does some work. There's a lot of ways to build it as well. It's got a nightmarishly high special attack as well, which is always fun. But you can make this thing go in a lot of ways. It's got very high special attack and very high defense. You can make this thing have body press, and do quite good there. You can have it gets Volt Switch, which is great. Obviously, the classic just Thunderbolt, nuke the thing. Analytic is a cool ability. Magnezone's actually tough enough to take a hit as well if it's not a ground type. So you can make this thing hit very, very hard and do a lot of very, very cool stuff. Particularly since Analytic Volt Switch is pretty fun with a choice specs. Very low speed. Just basically prep for ground types. Deal with all your opponent's ground types, and then you can switch in with this thing a lot, and it's very fun. It's a very, very good mon. It gets top of B tier. It's not quite higher, but it's close. It's close to being an A tier. This thing's kind of on the cusp. But I have a lot of respect for this mod. A lot of earned respect for this mod as well, because this thing is good. It's not a particular Pokemon that I've been crazy about using myself, which is why it's not quite an A tier. But it is good. Now, Electivire. Electivire, I used to love this Pokemon. This is the Pokemon I was talking about earlier. Everything about Electivire says I should love it. And I do. It's got a great design. It's got good stats. It's got a good move pool. It's got a good ability. Like, Motor Drive is a good ability. Unfortunately, it just sucks so fucking much. I don't know why. I think Electivire is almost great, and that's all I can really give it. It's almost great in every aspect of its existence. It's got a good design. It's got good stats. It's got a great move pool. It's got an amazing move pool. So many Pokemon would kill for this Pokemon's moveset. It just doesn't hit the bar. It doesn't. It's trying to do a lot of things. It's kind of okay toughness-wise. It's got okay attack. Like, it's got good attack, for reference. It's got 123 base attack, which is not terrible. It's higher than Tyrantrum or Dragapult, Pokemon that I have talked about having good attack stats. Because it's got, like, a little bit higher than both of them. Unfortunately, it doesn't have anything that goes for it in the real... Like, its best move is either Wild Charge or Supercell Slam, which I think it gets Wild Charge. I'm not 100% on that. Or otherwise you're dealing with Thunder Punch. And it just doesn't... Like, Wild Charge itself, like, isn't that great. Like, Wild Charge needs... The fact that Wild Charge isn't just Electric-type Double Edge, it weirds me out. It's closer to Electric-type Takedown, which is just strange, because Takedowns kind of sucks, and nearly everything gets Double Edge, so why not make it just Double Edge? Like, even Flare Blitz is the same, right? It's just weird, and then Supercell Slam came out, which is cool. The fact that it's only 100 power is weird to me. It should be higher because of the negative. Yeah. I don't know. Electivire, I want to like it more than I used to like it a lot, but it's just... It's disappointed me so many times that it drastically dropped. If you had asked a couple of years ago where Electivire would have been, it'd probably been pretty decent into A tier. But the fact it just disappoints me in every time. It just isn't very good. And it's unfortunate. It isn't. It's also, I will say, 123 attack is a decent attack stat, right? But I have actually said this on multiple occasions. 130 is this is a good attacking Pokemon. It's a little bit below the benchmark. If this thing had 130 attack, I wouldn't bat an eyelid. I would consider it a lot better. Because it would be the same as a lot of real powerhouses. Like, 130 is what I consider a really, really, really good attack stat on a Pokemon. And at 123 doesn't quite hit the bar. So, yeah. Rotom, and all the various versions of Rotom. There is a lot of versions of Rotom on this tier list because it included the in-game alternate forms, which aren't actually Rotoms. I've talked about this before. Rotom's cool. But it doesn't quite hit the benchmark of a lot of others. So I'll put regular Rotom between the two Magnas. Right? I'd say that is very, very fair. Rotom Fan, I'll put also around there. Maybe a little higher. Rotom Mow, I love the concept of Rotom Mow. So I'll put it about here. Rotom Fridge, I love fridges, but it's kind of bad, right? Electric Ice should be a really, really good combo. Unfortunately, it just doesn't really do it on the defense. Offensive, it'd be great. If they make an Electric Ice type, which is super, super fast, which I don't think any exists. I just want to check quickly. Yeah. Electric Ice is a... Oh, no, there's... I think that thing might be Electric Ice. Or it might be Electric Water, I'm not sure. But Electric Ice is a really, really cool typing. I actually think that's Electric Ice. That one's way better for it. I don't think that's particularly good either. But if they make a really fast, offensive Electric Ice type, it will be terrifying. It'd be like Weavile kind of scary, I think. But... Because Electric Ice is the best combo you can get for electricity. It's like the best partner for offense for electricity. Unfortunately, Rotom Frost just isn't that good on the offense. Rotom is my favorite of the Rotoms, genuinely. Rotom Wash, I do have a lot of respect for as well, so yeah, there. And then there's all the other Rotoms. I am indifferent towards the Pokedex and phone and all these other versions of Rotom. I don't care. You're not actually Pokemon. Right? But yeah, that is my one for the Rotoms. I love Rotom Heat a lot. I actively like using Rotom Heat. And Rotom Wash is the best Rotom form. It just is. I think it's got the highest stats and it's got very, very good typing. Electric Water is a good typing. It's very, very tanky. Electric Fire I like for its typing more. I know it's not quite as good, but I like having Electric Fire type with Levitate. It's fun. And Electric Fire needs to be in more Pokemon. I think Rotom is the only Electric Fire type. That type needs to be put into more Pokemon. It's a sick typing, and I want it. I want more Pokemon to have it. Okay. Arceus. I've talked about Arceus on every one of these videos. It just gets chucked somewhere in A tier. The only time I'm ever going to treat Arceus seriously is in the normal type tier list, where it's his actual type. I don't like any of the Arceus forms more than any of the others, so I just put it in A tier and call it a day. Right? It's fine. Blitzel and Zebstrika. People go crazy for this mon. I have never seen it. Like, sure, it's cool. It's a zebra. But it's just a zebra. Why do people like this mon as much as they do? It's weird to me. Ads. Yeah, ads are a thing. Gotta make money somehow. Yeah, sorry, y'all, but I need to make money somehow, right? And ads do help. Thank you very much for watching the ads. But yeah, I've never seen it as to why people love Blitzel and Zebstrika that much. It's cool. Don't get me wrong, it's fine. But people go crazy for this one for some bizarre reason. And I've never really seen it. Never seen it personally. I guess people just really like zebras. And I guess, like, the supermodel has it. Like, is it the ace? Is it Zebstrika or a Mulga? I never could tell which one is the ace of the Electric Gym Leader in Gen 5. Because they're both quite scary. But I always thought Emolga was better, personally. Speaking of Emolga, it's up next. Emolga, I genuinely like Emolga. Again, it's one of the best Pikachu clones. They all are just very cute. And that wins a lot of points with me, honestly. They are cute. I've never particularly crazily wanted to use this, but it's very adorable. I like flying squirrels. I talked about I like squirrels in general, and flying squirrels are just squirrels with wings. And the extra type gives it a little bit of a bit for it. It's a fun little blighter as well. This thing can be quite scary. I have done some scary things. Well, I've never really used Emolga too much. But I wouldn't mind using Emolga. Genuinely. Emolga probably would be the second most likely Pikachu clone for me to use. Yeah, I'd say that's safe. The second most likely for me to use. And the reason it's the second most likely is because I've actually used one of the Pikachu clones, which is my favorite of the Pikachu clones. Which you will see later. But yeah, I quite like Emolga. Emolga is a good design. It's very happy. It's very adorable. Definitely one of the winners from Gen 5. Because I think Gen 5 has a lot of hits and a lot of misses. Emolga, I think, is one of the hits. It's why I think Zebstrika is also one of the kind of, like, misses. I don't think it's a bad design. It's just kind of there. Okay. People will know where the next one comes on if you saw my electric type. Not my electric type, my bug type tier list. I love Joltik. Joltik goes here. And Galvantula goes here. I love Galvantula. I love this Pokemon. I like bugs, right? And for me, electric bug types go so hard. A lot, you might be noticing Vikavolt's going to get a good spot as well, don't worry. But I genuinely love the lightning bugs. And Galvantula, oh, it's a tarantula for a start, and I love tarantulas. I'm a huge spider fan. And the thunder tarantula. Also, this thing, God, not tinted lens, the other one. Compound eyes. Compound eyes, thunder, hell yes. Also, sticky webs, this is what... I like the Spider-Mons, not just because they use sticky webs. I'm happy they've got a good use case because of sticky webs, but I like using them just as offensive Pokemon quite a lot. Galvantula is crazy, crazy fast. And gets Compound Eyes, so you can use the less accurate moves. Like Thunder. Thunder is a big one that I love using with Galvantula. Remember, so it's kind of a pain in the ass to get Thunder on Galvantula, but you can do it. Which I really like. It gets Sticky Webs, which is also very, very good. You can do some crazy good things with it. I genuinely love this one. One of my favorite electric types. One of my favorite electric types to use as well. It's better than Ampharos. I think I like Ampharos a bit better. I've just used it more often in just casual playthroughs. And for me, Ampharos has nostalgia. Right? Ampharos is one of my favorite Gen 2 Pokemon. I'm not kidding. I've always got a soft spot for it. But I do love Galvantula a lot as well. Very, very fun. Hey, Nixie! Excuse me. Love me, Spider. Love me, Spider. Yeah, this is my least favorite type. So it's been a very entertaining thing to go. I will sing the praise of the electric types I like. And I will talk very much about where I don't like a lot of them. But yeah. Love Galvantula a lot. Galvantula is sick. Okay. Tynamo. I don't remember the Middle Evo's name. And Electros. Is it electric? Tynamo is weird for me. It's not bad, but it's my least favorite of these ones. Same with this one, honestly. They're both cool, and I like them. But we'll get to Electros. Like, these two are the stages to get to Electros to me. They always are. Because I very much like Electros. Electros probably up here. Now, this is the Mon. This is a famous Mon for the fact that, one, it's a bitch to get the shiny. Because you have to get the shiny as Tynamo. And Tynamo is a spec in the more recent games. It is a dot on your screen. It's barely easy to tell where one is in to begin with. So if you want to shiny hunt this thing, don't. Would be my advice. But Electros is the no weaknesses Pokemon. The only way to get a weakness on this thing is, one, make it Terra. But two, and the big one, you have to get a Mold Breaker Pokemon with a ground move. Because this thing is an electric type with Levitate. Which is sick. And it's the thing it's got, right? But I quite like it. It's got some really weird-ass moves. It gets Drain Punch. Why does the eel get Drain Punch? I don't know. But I love this thing. I think it's got a really cool design. It's got a cool gimmick. It's fun, generally. It gets, like, a bunch of punching moves. I have no idea why. Exactly. It gets cherry, like, Thunder Punch, Fire Punch, Ice Punch, Drain Punch. This eel has hands for some reason. Yeah. It throws hands so well. I have no idea why. But it's pretty cool, right? Yeah, and I have a soft spot for this thing. I wanted to get a Mega. I'd love for this thing to get a Mega to be genuinely quite good. It's fun. I put it as a comfortable A tier. It deserves an A tier. It's like Lantern, right? It's fun. It's very bad. I want to give it a better score. I want to put it in S tier. Unfortunately, it's too bad to put it in S tier. I have never had this thing be good. That is what is putting it down from S tier, is that it kind of sucks. But, and you know it sucks when a mon has 0 weaknesses and is still pretty bad. But, what can I say, right? I have a soft spot for the little blighter. Yeah. Yeah. It just isn't good. It's slow. It hits mediocrely hard. Yeah, it entirely hits through vibes. It's vibes and gimmicks. It gets it all its points. It's just... all its points are in cuteness and the fact that it throws hands despite being effectively just a lamprey. It's a tube. It's a tube that throws hands. It gets it because I find it hysterical. Yeah, I get Chimiko again. Yeah, I get it. It's very cute. It's really bad, but it's cute. Okay. Stunfisk. Why? So for reference, Stunfisk is the single most immune to paralysis Pokemon ever. Now, Stunfisk is a ground type, meaning it is immune to electric moves, right? It is also an electric type, meaning it is immune to paralysis after a certain number of games, but it is immune to paralysis. It also gets the ability Limber, which makes it immune to paralysis. So it's unlikely to be hit by 90% of the moves that can paralyze it anyway, because it's a ground type. It's an electric type, so it's immune to paralysis. It also has Limber, so it's extremely immune to paralysis. I don't know why this Pokemon is this hard into don't paralyze me. It's weird. I have never understood it. I hate how it looks. I think regular Stunfisk looks terrible. Galarian Stunfisk, as it did on my ground type tier list ages ago, months ago at this point. Galarian Stunfisk, the bear trap, you get a free pass. You're quite cool. You're a funny idea. Normal Stunfisk, why do you exist? Who made this? You are a D tier Pokemon. You are awful. I can't like this thing. The only thing it's got going for it is the fact that the animal it's based on is delicious. That's it. That's all it's got going for it. Flounder is actually very, very tasty. Highly recommend it. But yeah, it's got... I have no idea. Please tell me the reason for this Pokemon's existence. Yeah, all his points are in delicious. This would be one of the Pokemon that I love to eat. More than anything else, I would love to eat this Pokemon. I'd love to eat this Pokemon more than Magikarp. Yeah. Thundurus Incarnate. I've never really been a fan of the Incarnate form for Thundurus. Like, it's good. Thundurus is my favourite of the genies. Right. Landorus is sick. Don't get me wrong. But I think I talked about this on the flying tier list. Thundurus is my favourite of the genies. But it's not for its... apparently very broken. I know this is one of Wolfie VGC's least favourite Pokemon. I think it's like number 3. It's number 2 or 3. Actually, it might be number 1. It might be... I can't remember what's his least favourite. It might be Thundurus. Thundurus Incarnate. It's very, very, very good. I actually went up against a bunch of them today for some reason. It was apparently Thundurus Day on Pokemon... a Pokemon Showdown in National Dex. I went up against so many Thunduruses. I went up against a triple genie team, actually, at one point. Like, it was a rain team with Thundurus, Landorus, and Tornadus all on it. All with their Storm abilities. I decimated them because it was really easy to see what their idea was going to be, but still. Exactly! It's neat! And Normal Thundurus, I do think, has a good design. It's kind of Zeusy. That's always the bit I've given it. It reminds me of Zeus, the most of them, which I think is the vibe they're going for with those. So, I'll give it the benefit. You get A-tier Thundurus. I think you're pretty cool. You're probably the most likely of the... Actually, no. I've used Landorus. You're the second most likely for me to use. But you're probably my favourite of the Incarnates. I prefer it to Landorus. It's just Landorus is kind of better. Also, I'd never particularly used Landorus. Main one. I'd never used Landorus Incarnate. I've used Landorus Therian before. Even though I'm not as sold on it as a lot of people are, people love that thing. I think it's great. I don't really have sold as a lot of people are on it. I never had a problem dealing with it, is the main thing. People apparently think that thing is the bee's knees. I've never had a problem dealing with Landorus, really. Also, Landorus Therian fulfills the same kind of role as Garchomp, and I'm always going to pick a Garchomp. I think Garchomp is more useful, generally. That being said, for my teams, I tend to... Landorus is not very good against me a lot of the time. I apparently build teams that Landorus just can't do shit against 90% of the time. But I will say Thundurus Therian is my favourite of the genies. Because, so the genies are based on the... What the fuck are they called? The 4 Guardians, right? The Therian forms, the animal forms. Favorite themed Pokemon teams? I love Sandstorm. I love Sun. I love my Mega Dragon team. Yeah, stuff like that, really. Oh, I did a stupid one that was Maractus and the Choice Spec Surf Greninja, which was pretty funny. I did that today. It was very bad, but it's funny. Yeah. But yeah, Thundurus Therian is... So, it's, Landorus Therian is the tiger. Tornadus is the bird. Enamorus is the turtle and snake. And Thundurus is the dragon. Now, it's not an actual dragon type, but that's what those 4 are based on, right? And out of a lot of them, I love Thundurus Therian. I have used Thundurus Therian, not to great effect, but to fun effect. This thing hits like a freight train. I think it's got 145 special attack. This thing has a nuclear weapon level lightning bolt. And I think this thing is very fun. So, and it's also got Volt Absorb. It's not as good as the Prankster one, but you can do shenanigans with Incarnate, which I'm not a huge fan of. So, Thundurus Therian... You're not quite an S tier, but you're the top end at A tier. I do like you. I also think your design is way better than the other Therian forms, genuinely. The Draconic look works, and you can tell what it's going for. For me, Thundurus is the one that twigged in my brain. This is the gimmick that they're going for. This is the theming that they're going for the 4 Guardian things. Because Landorus kind of looks more monkey... Landorus Therian looks more monkey-esque than tiger. But if you look at it with, these are the 4 things, you go, oh, I can see tiger. Tornadus is just a bird. It's not as specific, really. Tornadus Therian does not look great. And Enamorus, it's really obvious, but Enamorus came up much later. So, yeah. But yeah, I like Thundurus Therian a lot. Y'all know exactly where this guy is going. Zekrom! I like Zekrom. I do prefer Reshiram. Will state this. Prefer Reshiram. But, Zekrom. My boy. The legendary boxer you get in, black and white in PokeMMO is Zekrom. I love this thing, genuinely. I do prefer Reshiram. I've had a much more success with Reshiram in general. It's much more powerful. I find Fire Dragon is a better type. I like Reshiram's design more. But Zekrom is still a very, very good design. I also love it. I actually saw someone did a fan art online of Zekrom and Reshiram with their color schemes flipped. And I say, white and blue Zekrom looks really good, and black and blue Reshiram looks great as well. So that is a cool bit of art if you can find it online. Could not remember the artist's name, but that was a cool bit of art if you can find it. Like palette swap. I think this literally was named palette swap Reshiram and Zekrom. Ooh, favorite electric shiny. I was about to say, oh, this is actually a tough one. Not even close, it's Vikavolt. It's Vikavolt by a lot. Shiny Vikavolt is amazing. Tapu Koko, okay second. Like, fair bit behind, but okay second. Heliolisk and Helioptile. These Pokemon, I love their gimmick. Also, they're cute little lizards, which is fun. Their thing's gimmick is they work on any weather team. They literally have an ability that works in any weather. Each of their abilities works in a different type of weather. I think they get Sand Veil, Solar Powered, Dry Skin. I don't remember if they have a snow one, but they have one for those 3 weathers. Which is kind of cool, and I like the idea of it. So, you guys get high C tier. I'm not going to put you any higher than that. But they have my respect for being kind of neat, right? They have a gimmick. They're like a high C. I wouldn't say they're like putting to get to B tier. But it's a vibe. It's a vibe. If you love these Pokemon, I absolutely get it. I've seen people do some work with them as well. Genuinely. I was surprised at how much work I saw someone do with a Solar Power Helioptile, actually. I was like, you actually cooked there. I went up against one. I beat the team that I was up against, for reference. But it was pretty neat. And I respect that, because you can make it do quite good work. It was Life Orb Solar Power, I think. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. It was up against my team that couldn't really deal with the sun, because I actually wanted the sun up. It wasn't a sun team, but it had some things that benefited from the sun. So, yeah. I don't even remember this thing's name. Dedenne? Is it Dedenne? Dedenne, I'm gonna be honest, buddy. You're not even particularly cute. I don't know why. I don't find this thing adorable. Really. It is the Electric Fairy Pikachu clone. Which, to be fair, it's a pretty cool type combo. It might be the only Electric Fairy as well. I believe it might be the only Electric Fairy. It's a neat type combo. The Pokemon just really sucks. I don't even find it particularly cute. So, Dedenne, you're going in D tier. You're probably the highest in D tier. I don't dislike you as much as that, though. But I don't really like this Pokemon. I've never had a real, like, oh, I want to use this one. Yeah. This is like a... I don't like it. It just looks a bit weird. Charger Bug, or Charger Bus, as I always call it. The little bug. I love this thing shiny as well. Red. It's just a red brick. It's like a loaf. I love Charger Bug. Charger Bug is cute. Never run this thing in the game it came out in, because fuck the mechanic that you have to go to a magnetic zone. The fact that this Pokemon eventually just got Thunderstone evolve was a glorious addition. Thank you, Game Freak, for eventually doing that. Wish you could do it retroactively and add it to Sun and Moon, because you made me not want to use this Pokemon, and this was one of the Pokemon I was most excited to use in Sun and Moon. But yeah. Vikavolt. I love Vikavolt. Again, same kind of reasons as Galvantula, except that Vikavolt is squishier than Galvantula and slow. But what Vikavolt has going for it is a legendary level of special attack. Also, this thing is great. I like running this thing super tanky. It's a levitating electric bug with an apocalyptically high special attack stat. And, get sticky webs. Now, I say, this thing, obviously, gets sticky webs. Automatically great. But I like running this thing. Max health, max special attack, modest assault vest. Because you can't make it tanky, but you can make it able to take a couple of hits. That's all I'll really give it. I love assault vesting bugs, by the way. I find it very funny. But I love this. I love using this thing. This thing gets great coverage. It's the railgun bug as well. Also, amazing shiny. literally, the reason why I name my Vikavolt Astalos is because it has like a chrome and emerald green shiny. It's a great color scheme to begin with. Like the dark blue and the yellow railgun pylons looks great. It's got an amazing design. And then they go the extra mile with the shiny. This is a Pokemon that is done very well. The fact that it's as slow as it is bizarre to me. Do you know what I think they should do? This is a Pokemon that I want to get a Mega. And the only thing I want them to do with the Mega is give this thing 100 speed. Just add every single part of its 100 extra stats for getting Mega Evolution into speed. Make it fast. It would be so fun to use a Vikavolt that's fast. It looks like you should get speed boost as well. I think it has tinted lens. I don't remember exactly what this. No, I think it just gets levitate. It just gets levitate. I remember. I saw it in a randomizer someone played where they gave it tinted lens, which is bullshit on this one, by the way. But Vikavolt is a really, really cool mon. I really, really like it. Vikavolt and Galvantula. Props for the bugs. The two proper fully evolved electric bugs both got into S tier. That kind of tells you, right? Lightning bug. Hell yeah. But yeah, I love both of those Pokemon. Love Vikavolt. Vikavolt is sick. Oricorio. I talk about Oricorio a bit. Oricorio's fine. I don't really... It's neat. It's got a gimmick, which I kind of like. I also love the concept of this mon. Because obviously it gets Dancer, which is really cool. Particularly since there are so many good dancing moves. It gets Quiver Dance just off the bat. But you can make this thing do some real fun things in doubles. Because you can run this thing with, say, Volcarona. Right? And Volcarona, you Quiver Dance. And it dances to Quiver Dances. And then you Quiver Dance on itself. So basically it gets 2 Quiver Dances for once. Which it basically gets a fucking Geomancy on its own. In a single turn. Which is pretty cool, right? I don't know if this thing's got good attack stat. I want to check if it's got a good attack stat. I don't think it's got a good attack stat. 70 is not bad, actually. But I could imagine you doing some sort of... I don't know what its moveset's like for physical moves. But I can imagine you doing something a bit wacky with, like, a physical Oricorio. It's got significantly higher special than physical, for reference. But if you could do something with physical with it, with, say, Hisuian Lilligant's Victory Dance, which also applies, by the way. Say if your opponent's in something that you know is going to Swords Dance, you can cook with that, and I like that. The fact that you can do some wacky ideas, and it gives me ideas to run it, gets it a good mark. Really. Nothing crazy, I'm not frothing at the mouth going to go, I want to use an Oricorio now. It's pretty cool. Also, its special move is really cool. Revelation Dance is Oricorio's move, right? It's its unique move. And what it does, because Oricorio basically has multiple forms, I think it has Ghost, Psychic, Electric, and Fire as its forms, right? You can... basically, its Revelation Dance changes type depending on what Oricorio's primary type is, right? So, you do Revelation Dance, it's the fire version, it does Revelation Dance, it's fire damage, right? Same with the electric one, same with the ghost one, same with the psychic one, right? You with me? What that also works for, though, is for Terra. It actually works for the Terra as well, because if you change it to Terra, it changes the primary typing. So, if you say, well, Terra Fairy, you get a more powerful Terra Blast. Which is pretty fun. Like, it's got its own unique version of Terra Blast that's better. Honestly. Which I kind of like. Honestly, I think that is a very fun idea. It's only not better because it's always a special move. And if you want to go with that dumb, gimmicky physical set I was talking about, you can't really do it. But, it's an option, right? Yeah. Silverly, I talked about it in the same way that I talk about Arceus. I don't really care. You're fine. Go into B tier. You're worse than Arceus, but I don't talk about you because you're a normal type. That's ability is you can change types. I don't really care. Okay. I can't remember the name of this one. Togedemaru, the spiky shield. Togedemaru is pretty neat. I like the idea of this mon. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite like hit the bar. It's got iron barbs, which is cool. So you can make this thing do some really wacky shit with like making it. You can basically make this thing into the Retribution mon, which is pretty fun. Unfortunately, it's not very good. But I don't dislike it particularly. It's just kind of fine. Another Pikachu clone. I love hedgehogs. It's kind of a bit too far away from looking like a normal hedgehog for me to go, oh, I love this thing. But it's not offensive, really. I would put Togedemaru as a solid C tier. It's nothing special, really. But it's got a gimmick that's kind of neat. It's just a gimmick that I'm not really that bothered about. There are cooler mons to do the same kind of shtick. If I wanted to do a mon that I wanted to just take hits and take hits and take hits and take hits, that's a spiky little fella, I would use Marnie. My Toxapex. Which I don't even use the Baneful Bunker build on my Toxapex. I use the, like, durability pure tank build on mine. So, with Toxic. But yeah, that's what I basically put. I don't really have that high a thought, really, on Togedemaru. I don't really think about this Pokemon much. Tapu Koko, the lightning bolt himself. I am sad about Tapu Koko. I love the Pokemon reference. I'm just gonna assuage some bullets. Tapu Koko is an S tier Pokemon, right? Love its design, love its shiny. Second best shiny in the electric types, in my personal opinion. But great mon in every case. One problem. Electric type sucks for physical attacking moves, and it doesn't really get any good ones. Which means that you're probably going to run this thing special. But it's got a much higher physical attack than special, which is kind of sad. I would like to see this thing do more. Also, having played a lot of national decks, this thing is very, very good. Also allows you to do some wacky shit with the iron Pokemon, which is fun, right? Because every single tier bans Miraidon, because Miraidon is insane. Right? So there's only so much you can really do with electric terrain, because if you're using electric terrain team, which is cool, you're running this thing, which is crazy, crazy good, Miraidon, which is banned, or you're using this little fucker, Pincurchin, which sucks. So you're either paying the Pincurchin tax, or if you're doing in national deck stuff, basically, you can't really run a proper iron team outside of Ubers. And even then, I think Miraidon got banned from Ubers as well, actually. I think it's anything goes. You're running this thing. Like, Tapu Koko is a good Pokemon that allows you to use the iron Pokemon to their best potential, because it's not broken. That being said, I love Miraidon, don't get me wrong, but yeah, it is a very, very strong Pokemon. Like, it's just a good mon, nothing crazy about it, it's just good, that lets electric terrain do its thing, which I like as a concept, and it's got a great design, it's pretty cool in the game. I remember the cutscene where it, like, jumps off the bridge to save you. It's pretty sick. I like Tapu Koko a lot. It's my second favorite of the Tapus, after Tapu Lele. I like Tapu Lele a lot. Then it's Tapu Koko. Then it's Tapu Fini. Those three, fairly close together. Then Tapu Boo Boo. I'm sorry, buddy. You're a lot worse than the others. Xurkitree. Xurkitree's interesting. I've never particularly used this mon, but I know how good it is. I've come up against how good this thing is. This thing is nuts. Powerful. It's not got the best design in the world, but I don't dislike the design particularly, right? It's fine. I don't really think about it that hard, this mod, but it's pretty cool. I will give it its How good it is gets it a good mark. I'll put it here in high B. It is pretty neat, right? That's what I can really give it is its due. It's pretty neat. It's good. You can make this thing be an absolute menace of a sweeper with, like, discharge or the, what the fuck is it called? The Z move. I've seen people use this thing with the Z move a lot. I am a big fan of the Ultra Beasts, personally. This one's not one of my personal favorites of the Ultra Beasts, but I think it's a pretty cool Pokemon, and I love the idea of it. I think the Ultra Beasts are so good because of their just weird-ass stats, and that's fun. They're aliens, right? They're supposed to have dumb, weird stats. Alright, Zeraora. Now then. People who have been watching me for a long time probably have some idea of my opinions on Zeraora. I don't think this thing is a Pokemon. Zeraora, to me, is a Sonic character. It doesn't look like a Pokemon. And it annoys me, that fact. It also annoys me that I've got it in Pokemon Unite, which is the only time I've really interacted with this mon. I know it's pretty good. I just don't really like it. I think that it's a bad idea to make Pokemon like it. Like, I'm not a huge... It's kind of the same reason why Lucario isn't as highly rated for me. But this one is a worse offender than Lucario. This mon, to me... Like, with Lucario, I think they wanted to try and make an Anubis-esque Pokemon. And then they wanted to give it main character plot armor. Which they kind of did. And it's cool. Like, Lucario is objectively quite a cool Pokemon, right? Zeraora, I think they tried to do the same thing, it just didn't really work. I don't really think this Pokemon is particularly cool. I find it a Sonic OC rather than a Pokemon. I don't like it as a Pokemon, so I'm going to put it in D tier. It's powerful. It's very powerful. It gets Plasma Fists, which is a very, very good move. I just don't like it. It was fun to use in Pokemon Unite, I'll give it that. But I don't really like it. I don't like it. It was the one I would use quite often to get before, because I think it's my only Speedmon that I own in Pokemon Unite. So I have a fair bit of playtime in it just to get the... I believe it used to be good. It was fun to play. Oh yeah, well, that's the point, isn't it? It was a poster child they want to make you love it mon, so they made it a little bit broken. And then it got hit nerfed back a lot because nobody particularly liked it, to my knowledge. And, it was offensively good. So, kind of the point of this kind of thing. It doesn't really tick any boxes very well. Yamper! Yamper, I love you, buddy. I love this thing. This thing is goofy, but in a good way. Yamper, you're there. I like Yamper quite a lot. It's bad, but it's very cute. The little sausage dog. I also think that Yamper... People said that people disliked Yamper. I saw this thing. It was literally a thing which people went... Pokemon Game Freak wanted people to love, but people didn't. And they went Yamper. I went, I remember people loving Yamper. Yeah, it's the little corgi. I remember people loving Yamper. Yeah, I remember people loving it when Sword and Shield came out. And apparently people don't like the Pokemon. I was like, no, they do. They're not a huge... I don't think they're the biggest fan of Bolton. Like, Bolton's fine. I'll put Bolton. Bolton is an A-tier Pokemon, by the way. Bolton is very much deserving of the A-tier spot. Electric-type Strongjaw with Thunderfang? Hell yeah. But let's talk more about Yamper. Yamper is very cute. And it's not a bad little mon. Like, it's the progenitor Pokemon for Nuzzle, I believe. Which is a great move. Annoying as hell because it's basically just better Thunder Wave. But not many Pokemon get it, which is good. Yeah. So I'm a big fan of Yamper and Bolton. I like them a lot. They're the doggos, right? So I like them. Toxtricity, or Toxel specifically. Let's go Toxel first. I'm going to put them all in C. Actually, no, I'm going to put all of them in C because we love the doggos. Exactly. Now, Toxtricity is a C tier mon for me because it's good. got a vibe, right? But it doesn't tick the boxes really for me again. It's kind of okay, though it's slow as balls with a quad weakness to ground, which isn't positive for it. Poison Ground isn't a particularly good type combo, but it's got good vibe because it's the Rockstar, right? Now, I will say, there's a thing I usually do. Normally, you'd see me in these tier list videos to put all the forms of the Pokemon immediately into the same tier, right? Or maybe it'll be a bit better. However, personally, I think that Gigantamax Toxtricity is a lot cooler than the base versions. To the point where I am going to put Gigantamax Toxtricity in A tier. Now, that is a cool design change. That, to me, is an example of what a Gigantamax was intended to be. It's a cool design that takes this inspiration from the main one and then amps it. Also, the fact that its special Gigantamax move, it literally pulls out a giant lightning guitar and just slams it down, which is sick. So, I'm a big fan of G-Max Toxtricity. I think that it is awesome. But normal Toxtricity, I've never been a huge fan of it. It's just not great. That's the main problem they've got. They're just... People love them. I get why people love them. They have a vibe. They've never gelled with me. Also, I put the blue one slightly worse than the yellow one. I like the yellow one a little bit more. Okay. Pink Urchin! Pink Urchin, I'm gonna put you in C tier. You suck. That's the main thing. You are an awful Pokemon. An absolutely awful Pokemon. Its only thing that it has going for it, genuinely the only thing, which is, in a way that I will tell you, a negative, is it's the only Pokemon that is not... It's the only Pokemon that's not banned in Scarlet and Violet that can set up electric terrain. Now, electric terrain, kind of the entire point of the Iron Pokemon's ability, right? And the Iron Pokemon, so Iron Valiant, Iron Hands, Iron Leaves, Iron Thorns, all of these rely on getting the electric terrain up. And if you're not running Miraidon, which is obviously the king of the Ironmons, you have to rely on this. To the point that I've seen this little bastard in Ubers. It was once, but I have seen it. It has existed in Ubers. Only one time. The point that this Pokemon is so bad, the only time it shows up is Ubers. Because in every tier, other than that, it's useless. Because its only purpose is to set up electric terrain. The only thing it has going for it in any conceivable way is that it sets up electric terrain. It is such a terrible mon that it's so bad that it's not worth bringing, despite it allowing an entire section of quite strong Pokemon to be significantly better. It's too bad to use it for that outside of some really specific circumstances, in which case it still kind of sucks at it. And it's unfortunate this is the only electric terrain setter that isn't a Tapu, which set up the electric terrain. It set up terrain because that is their gimmick, or Miraidon, which is its gimmick because it's basically got Super Hadron Engine. Actually, it is Hadron Engine, isn't it? Yeah, because Quark Drive is the default. Yeah, Hadron Engine. Hadron Engine is Super Quark Drive. So yeah, that's the unfortunate thing about Pikachu. Is that its only use case is technically a negative. If there was something that was okay to use, I think the Ironmons would have been even better received. Because when it comes to the prehistoric Mons in Scarvi, you have a lot of good Sunsetter options. There's a lot of drought Pokemon. Hell, in Ubers, you've got Groudon. Think of the two options you've got. If you're not taking the crazy big one, so Miraidon, Koraidon, you have on the side of the Ironmons, Pink Urchin. And on the side of the prehistoric Mons, you've got Groudon. Even if you're not playing in Ubers and you're not using Groudon, you've got Torkoal, you've got Ninetales, which are both very, very good in their own right. So yeah, it's the worst part about Pink Urchin is it's the only option, which it shouldn't be the only option because it objectively sucks. There should be something that's at least usable. It's not usable, which is the thing. It's only in C tier because it does enable it, which is a slight advantage which gets out of D tier. Also, the fact that I prefer the prehistoric Mons to the Iron Mons, so I'm usually not that bothered. I can make the Iron Mons, you can make them work without it, they're just better with it. Yeah. Now, remember when I said that there was one Pikachu clone which I like more than the others? Yeah, it's this one. I love this little bugger. Oh, I love it. Little Hangry. I always call it Hangry. What the fuck is its name again? My brain is blanking on it. Morpeko, that was it. Your son's spirit Pokemon is Morpeko? Yeah. I love Morpeko. I can understand this Pokemon. It's got a crazy fast metabolism, so it gets hungry, it becomes angry, so that it then eats something. It's got like a tiny stomach, so it gets angry, so it has to keep eating constantly. That's the vibe. Also, this mod is very fun to use. Genuinely, I think this thing with Aura Wheel and Choice Band is very, very fun to use because it just keeps speeding itself up. This thing is really fun. I like this mod. I have used it to some quite good effect. Hell, I've swept people with this thing before in Pokemon Showdown. It's fun. I like it. Can't say really more than that. It's very, very enjoyable to use. Realised I ranted so much about Pink Urchin, we're actually getting close to the time. Dinobot. I can never... Dracozolt. Dracozolt is this thing. Didn't even have to look it up. Dracozolt is cool. I do quite like Dracozolt. You are probably getting A tier. The other one is also getting A tier. Octozolt. Octozolt is, as I said, Ice and Electric is cool. Dracozolt is very funny to me because I like the Galafossils in general. I think they're all very, very cool as a concept because what they're supposed to be is genuinely these are the mixed up fossils, which happens all the time in actual paleontology. As a paleontology nerd, yeah, I used to know, but I knew about this a lot. I love my dinosaurs. So it's quite a common thing, and that was what it was supposed to be, particularly in England, because there's the Natural History Museum in England, which I used to give guided tours as a child. Not kidding, actual story. Used to give guided tours of the dinosaur exhibits at the Natural History Museum as a child. Genuinely used to do it. Used to have actually quite a sizable tour group as well. Used to get like 40, 50 people. I was about 6 at the time. Yeah. That's my dark, sordid history. I used to give tours at the Natural History Museum when I went down to London on holiday. But yeah, I like both of these. The Dracozolt, the Electric Dragon, it's Baby Zekrom. It has Bolt Break, which is very funny. I do prefer Dracovish. I prefer Dracovish, but this is my second favourite one of the fossils. It's why it's only an A tier. Dracovish would be an S tier, but not quite there. It's not quite as cool. Regieleki is my least favourite of the Reggies. I will state that. It's probably the best Reggie, but it is my least favourite. It doesn't quite... It's got a great design, though, and it's got a great... The Transistor's crazy good. People know it. It's still an A tier Pokemon. Do not get me wrong. Regieleki is very, very sick. But... it's my least favourite Reggie. The other Reggies are just more fun, right? Regigigas is awesome. Regidrago looks amazing. Regirock is... Registeel is very fun, and I love using it. Reggie Ice isn't great. It's probably the worst Reggie, but you can make it work, and it looks pretty fun. It looks pretty neat, right? I like the other Reggies. Reggie like is my least favorite one, but it's objectively the best one. 200 fucking speed base, by the way. Outspeeds Trick Room. Literally overcaps Trick Room. Poor Mott, poor Mo, and poor me. Don't remember which order these are in. You are all objectively fine. Yeah. They're fine, I guess. They're the best ones to use Revival Blessing on, I'll give them that. I have tried using these things. I can't make them work for me. They're alright. I get why people like them, and I get why people fucking hate this mon. It is literally that polarizing. I think it's very meh. Personally. Don't really have a high opinion of it, or negative. It is cool, I guess. Revival Blessing is insane, and you're gonna use either this or Rabska to get it. It's worth running just for that. And it's an okay mon. You can do work with it, I guess. But it suffers from the age-old problem. It's an electric-type physical attacker. Meaning that he has fuck all good moves. But you can make it work. It's got its own unique move, which removes its electric typing, which is pretty weird. But it's a thing. Okay, Tadbulb. I don't really like the look of Tadbulb, but I don't like it enough to put it into dislike it to put it into D tier. But I don't really think it's worth anything higher than a low C. Belly Bolt though, Belly Bolt is high C, which I will give it. My favorite thing about Belly Bolt is it looks like an onigiri. That's what it always reminds me of. Right? Also, do you want to know something very cursed? If you look at Belly Bolt, in fact, you know what? I will zoom in on Belly Bolt. Right? Look at this thing. Right? You see those things on the side of its head that look like eyes? Right? Those aren't its eyes. Those are light bulbs. Its eyes are those two tiny yellow spots in the middle of its face. You can no longer unsee that. That is actually true, apparently. I think this Pokemon is so much weirder knowing that. But that little smiley face in the middle is its actual face. Those light bulbs are actually light bulbs on the side of its head. It's not eyeballs. It's weird. But I think this thing is objectively, it's got a cool gimmick. It's a very, very tanky electric type, which is the thing that I think should be done more. And its ability is basically once it takes a hit, the next electric type move it uses is massively amped up in power. I think a 50% boost, which is pretty cool. So you can make it do some stuff. It's not for me. It's not quite a B tier. It's a high C. It is a high C tier, but I don't really like it that much, right? I'd rather use a lot of the other things. So. But it has got a cool gimmick, and I'll give it that. I can't remember the name of this mon. Not Wingle. Kilowattrel. Wattrel and Kilowattrel. That was it. So, Wattrel and Kilowattrel, I'm going to be honest, they are probably the most meh Pokemon in Paldea. They genuinely might be. There's some very mediocre Pokemon. There's a lot of really cool Paldea Pokemon. These ones aren't there. I will say, it's cool that they made a cooler looking Zapdos. But... And they're very, very fast, and you can make them work. I learned to respect this mod a bit more, but I still don't really rate it. It's very big as well, weirdly. If you see this thing in the game, it's huge. It's an Albatross, I suppose. I know it's supposed to be kind of a Pectoral, but it always looks like an Albatross to me. And if you've seen what Pectorals do in real life, it will take you away from liking this Pokemon. What Storm Pectorals do. But yeah, I really like this mon. It's fine, I guess, but I don't know. It doesn't really do it for me. Sandy Shocks, I've talked about Sandy Shocks multiple times. It's my least favourite Paradox mon. But in this case, you'll at least get into C tier. Okay, you'll at least get a high C tier. It's my least favourite Paradox mon, but I quite like the Paradox mons, so it's got at least that going for it. But I don't think this is. I think I would have preferred a different mon for it. I would have preferred a different mon to get the caveman treatment, right? Rather than Magneton. I don't think it's that cool, really. I know a lot of people that love this thing. I don't really like its design. It's fine in what it does. Like, it's pretty good. But it's... in terms of usability out of the Paradoxes, it's in the middle. Like, it's okay. There are others that are significantly better, but others are usually banned in the higher tiers. So it's pretty good as a mon. I really like its design. It walking around is alright. Also, this one was the most pain in the arse one for me to catch. For some reason, this thing would not spawn in Scarvi. This thing took me a genuinely quite a while to catch. Because obviously I have Scarlet and it's in Scarlet. It's easily my least favourite of the Paradox mons on the prehistoric side. Speaking of which, all the electric Paradoxes are cool. All the electric Iron Paradoxes are very cool. Iron Hands is sick. Genuinely. Iron Hands is getting an S tier. I love this thing. I like Hariyama as a Pokemon, and this thing is cooler Hariyama to me. It's easy to see how it's run as well. You just quite often, you give it... I wish it had better electric moves. That is the thing. I wish it had better electric offensive physical moves. Unfortunately, electric type just has kind of sucky electric physical moves. That's the problem for it. But it gets fake out. You clearly just give this thing an assault vest, right? It's got very low special attack, a massive health pool, massive physical defense, and a monstrous attack stat. It's very easy to see how you set this thing up. It gets fake out, which is great. Close combat just gets good fighting moves. In general, you can give it close combat or drain punch, depending which one you want. Give it both. Fuck it. You've got the space. It's just a really, really cool mon, and one of my favourite of the Iron mons. Iron Thorns. I like you as well. You are objectively worse than Tyranitar. That is the problem. But it also has the best shiny of the Iron mons. For reference, all the Iron mons turn silver, right? When they go shiny. Which, in every case, bar one, is a downgrade. The reason why it's bar one is Iron Thorns, because Iron Thorns going silver gets these nice turquoise highlights, and it looks like Kiryu, my favourite one of the Mechagodzillas, because it is Mechagodzilla. This is the mon which I go, yes, this is the reason why you should make the Paradoxes. Do wish this thing was Steel Dark instead of Electric Ground. Now, that being said, it would have basically the same problem. Or Steel Rock. I wish it was something I wish it had a different typing. But it's cool. It is objectively just worse Tyranitar. But Tyranitar is one of my favourite Pokemon of all time, and this thing is at least a very, very respectable chunk. You know what? Actually, I'll put you down a bit. I like these two about the same. I genuinely love it. Iron Hands is significantly better than Iron Thorns, though. I will say that. If you want to use one of these two, use Iron Hands every time. Iron Thorns isn't very good. It's one of the worst because it's got the Electric Rock type, which is not a good typing at all. But it's fun, and I like it. And in really low tiers, this thing can be scary. You have to respect this thing in low tiers because it is powerful. It's still got the stat, like, it's got lower stats than the Tyranitar, but it's still got Tyranitar-esque stats. It's still scary. Then there is the broken boy himself, Miraidon. Now, Miraidon is awesome. I'm just going to put all the Miraidons next to each other. I am a big preference for Koraidon, I will say. I think Koraidon is better in every way than Miraidon. They're about even. in terms of usability. I believe Miraidon's a little bit better in competitive Pokemon. But would you like to know the reason for that? I guarantee that they were thinking, oh, it's easy. We make Miraidon Dragon Electric special attacker with electric terrain. And Hadron Engine. Works well. My theory is that they went, well, we can make Koraidon, the prehistoric one, a Dragon Fire type, which is a physical attacker and has the sun. And I bet they did some playtesting and just went, this thing is the most broken Pokemon we've ever made. I think that Fire Dragon Koraidon would be too powerful. Genuinely. I think Fire Electric Dragon Miraidon is on the cusp of being too bad. I don't think it's too bad. I think it's fairly balanced. I think it's maybe a little too much, but not crazy too much. It's not offensively so. Koraidon would have nothing that's the answer. Because the reason why Miraidon kind of gets away with it is because if you are up against a ground fairy type, which I don't even know if one exists, Miraidon is hard-walled. There's fuck all it can do. If you are of a Koraidon that was a fire dragon, there is nothing in the game, and you could not make a Pokemon, really, that is good against it. It would be too good. Also, you couldn't burn Koraidon in that case. And it would get stab on Flare Blitz. Basically, a Flare Blitz from a Fire Dragon Koraidon would destroy any Pokemon in existence, including, especially if you terrored it. The only answer would actually had to bring a Flash Fire Mon. You would actively have to bring something with Flash Fire because you couldn't answer it. In the sun, it would be a, like, 500 base damage move. It would be something absurd like that. It would one-shot nearly anything in the game that didn't have Flash Fire, just outright. So, yeah, it makes sense they made it fighting as well, which gives it a good quad weakness, and it makes sense. Miraidon didn't have that problem because Electric is easy to deal with than Fire. And Electric Dragon and Fire Dragon are about equivalent. I'd say Fire Dragon's a little bit better, but they're about equivalent in terms of how good they are. I think Fire Dragon is better on the offense, Electric Dragon is better on the defense, if memory serves. Is how it, like, specs out. No, Fire Dragon is better because Fire counters the Ice and Fairy weakness, so the only real answers are the Fire weaknesses and Dragon, whereas Electric, it just adds an extra weakness onto Dragon and doesn't really solve any of them. Gives a bunch of extra resistances, though, which is quite nice. And now we get to the other Raikou, with Raging Bolt. Now, I'm a big fan of the dinosaur paradoxes. The big three legendary paradox mons of Raging Bolt, Walking Wake, and Gouging Fire. I am a huge fan of all of them. A huge fan. To the point that Raging Bolt's actually my favorite electric type. Just kind of a spoiler for you guys. I love this thing. It's so good. I talked about it so much. This mon is, to me, it's the best of the of these, like, those branch. Gouging Fire and Walking Wake are both incredibly good. They all fill a different niche. Walking Wake is the water Pokemon you have on a Sun team. Right, it is. Gouging Fire is the big, stompy Fire Dragon. But Raging Bolt, it has its own niche. It's good on any team. You cannot make a team that Raging Bolt isn't good on. And that's the thing. It's a massive wall. It's a Sauropod. It's got Sauropod health pool, right? It's got an apocalyptically high special attack. And it gets Thunderclap, which is one of my favorite moves in Pokemon. Thunderclap is Sucker Punch, but special and electric, essentially. And it's on something with the special attack of a Raging Bolt, which it does get Protosynthesis, and it will 99% of the time, unless you really build it otherwise, in fact, I don't even know if it's physically possible to make it otherwise, it's going to be its special attack. Because it can't get health, which is the only stat which is otherwise insanely good. It's got very respectable defense and special defense, considering its massive health pool, and its monstrous special attack. This thing is a beast. I absolutely love it. Its design is goofy, but in a cool way, and I love it. It's basically, to me, an upgrade to Raikou. I actually said that all 3 of the Dynamons are just an upgrade on the Gen 2 legendaries. I will stand by that statement. I love all 3 of them more than the Gen 2 legendary dogs. I love all of them. And Raging Bolt is my favorite electric type. It's close, and you can also notice, yes, all 3 of my top 3. Hell, if you count it as my top 5 favorite electric types are dragon types. Yeah, I'm a dragon type. Okay, what can I say? But Raging Bolt is my favorite, and even objectively, I just really, really like these mons. And Raging Bolt is my favorite one. I love it. I love using it. It's such a fun mon. It was the one I immediately went, I want to use this. I really want to use this. I saw its stuff, and I saw its stats, and I went, I really like these. I like all of them. Raging Bolt's my favorite, though. And yeah, that is not only the electric type tier list, that is the final monotype tier list review that I will be doing. These were a lot of fun to do. Yeah, there's the thing for the screenshots if anyone wants to take them, because I know a couple of people, my friends, like to take the pictures of them. But yeah, it'll be a lot of fun doing these, and yeah, I objectively am quite happy with this. As I said, electric type is my least favorite type. It has a lot of meh and a lot of like, this is pretty cool, right? It does have more A tiers than I thought, mostly because they're from the same kind of lines, though, I will say. Yeah, electric type just isn't my vibe, really. I just don't really like it. There's other types that I prefer using. And because of that, electric types kind of usually fall by the wayside for me. They're not bad. I just hope that they start making more cool electric types. That's one of my main ones. Give them better physical moves. Like, make some good physical electric moves that are good and don't have massive drawbacks. And just... yeah. We need some good electric type moves that are on the physical side. But Thunderbolt is really fun. Thunderclap is one of my favorite moves in Pokemon. It's definitely my favorite electric type move. Easily Thunderclap is my favorite electric type move. And yeah, I genuinely love these ones. Like, there's some fun ones to do. And I've been enjoying doing these type tier lists. I will say I am planning next week, on Monday, to do Mega Pokemon. And get some, maybe, do some theory crafting for what's going to turn up in Legends ZA. But, yeah, electric type is my least favorite type, but I do like a lot of electric type Pokemon. And there's some fun ones. You can find some fun Pokemon in every type. It's just that a lot of electric types are very mid to me. And they don't really stand out. And that's generally one of the big ones. Not particularly for reasons that other people have, where a lot of people go, I hate the Pikachu clones. I don't mind the Pikachu clones. I don't think there's any Pikachu clone in S tier, though. Yeah, there's not a single Pikachu clone into S tier. Which kind of tells you my opinion on them. But there's at least a few in A tier. Right. But yeah, that's a big problem, I think, with electric types, is that a lot of the electric types are taken up by Pikachu clones, which means there's less other options. But the other options can be very fun. So, yeah. Anyway, yes, I'm doing Megas next week, and I'll be back on tomorrow, where I will be doing something. I'm actually not sure what I'm doing. I might be being pestered to do character creation for stuff. But anyway, Nixie, I will get back to you on the... I've decided it's going to be Dark Heresy. I've done a little bit of writing for it today, for the Fangs game. It might end up being multiple weeks, by the way, because we're going to have to do at least one stream of character creation, because it's going to take a while. But yeah, we will see how it goes, though. Hell, I might do individual people's character creations. I don't know. It's going to be a fun time. Yeah, I've decided it's going to be Dark Heresy, so you guys are going to be Inquisitorial Acolytes. Mostly because the Altera guys are going to be in Black Crusade. Genuinely. So... I want to run a Dark Heresy. But yeah. So, that is all we've got time for. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Have a fantastic evening, every single one of you. Keep playing video games. Keep it awesome, guys. All the best on Twitch. Enjoy yourselves, guys. Have a lovely time and a fantastic evening. Have a fun time. Good night. See ya.